Tom Bower has just uncovered what really happened during Meghan Markle's controversial 47-minute Highgrove meeting. And according to these new claims, the outcome was far more embarrassing than anyone expected. What Meghan believed would become an opportunity to rebuild family ties reportedly turned into a tightly controlled encounter with little warmth or trust.
Meghan Markle felt humiliated on Prince Harry's most recent UK trip, and that the trip turned into a nightmare, forcing Markle and her children to return home to California earlier than they had hoped.
Tom Bower has also issued a serious warning for King Charles that could completely change how this entire situation is understood throughout.
But I do think that when you're mocked so publicly as they've been, their value begins to nosedive pretty quickly. And I don't think they're finding any more sources of income. And with the stream of money they're spending on security, on mortgages, on just plain living, I think they can see the end of the road within 5 years at best. And they've got a real financial problem now.
Tom Bower has spent years examining the royal family, and his latest comments have once again sparked debate about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's relationship with King Charles. According to Bower, the reported Highgrove meeting was never intended to become the emotional reunion many people imagined. Instead, he believes it was carefully arranged with clear limits from the very beginning.
Meghan and Harry's crisis, completely of their own making, is they have no major projects, no major money earners. And so they're more desperate than ever. And I think that they don't know what to do other than to try and come back to Britain and rebuild themselves as some sort of members of the royal family.
Bower argues that Harry and Meghan returned to Britain at a time when many of their public and commercial projects were facing increasing scrutiny. Several of their business partnerships had changed, new ventures had received mixed reactions, and questions about their long-term influence continued to grow. In his view, reconnecting with the royal family offered more than a chance to repair personal relationships. It also presented an opportunity to restore public confidence in their royal association.
I think that's what the Invictus Games, which is this very splendid competition for wounded servicemen, is going to start in Birmingham next year, but there's a rehearsal later in the summer. And Harry is determined to come, and if he could, he'd bring Meghan and somehow work his way back in so that they have status. My feeling is that the king might be slightly sympathetic.
The timing of the visit attracted significant attention. Because Prince Harry remains closely connected with the Invictus Games, his return to the United Kingdom appeared natural and understandable. According to Bower, this created the ideal circumstances for discussions with King Charles without making the meeting appear forced or politically motivated. Reports suggest that the king was willing to meet his youngest son despite the difficulties that had developed over recent years.
Prince Harry, the invitation for Prince Harry to stay at Buckingham Palace has been withdrawn. He's coming to Britain today.
After much speculation, a Duke of Sussex spokesperson confirmed the offer, as Andrew says, has been withdrawn at the last moment.
Family disagreements, public interviews, documentaries, and memoirs had all contributed to a level of mistrust that could not easily disappear. Even so, Charles reportedly believed a private conversation was preferable to allowing speculation to continue without any communication. However, Bower believes the king approached the situation with far greater caution than before. Rather than reopening every door that had previously been closed, Charles allegedly chose to separate family affection from royal responsibility.
I think the king right now, his best bet would be to distance himself completely, make it clear to Harry that the Sussexes are not welcome at all in Britain.
Those close to the monarchy have often suggested that the king understands the difference between being a father and being the head of the institution. According to this perspective, both roles had to be balanced carefully. As preparations for the meeting continued, expectations reportedly grew outside the palace walls.
When Chandauka denounces Harry as a racist and a bully, and that was, obviously for Harry, absolute disaster. He left the charity soon after, and the charity still survives, but obviously his reputation was severely dented.
Commentators wondered whether this could mark the beginning of reconciliation or simply another chapter in an already complicated family story. Bauer maintains that the answer became obvious long before anyone arrived at Highgrove, because strict boundaries had already been established behind the scenes.
So I think gradually the king has become much, more respected than he might have been. And he is in fact highly respected now, as is the queen. And they had to fight hard to get to that. So I think the sympathy at the moment is all in their favor. And they're not going to let all their hard work. And you've got to remember, and they're not going to cause an argument with William and Kate, who have absolutely no intention of in any way allowing the rehabilitation of the Sussexes here. So I think it's the royal family versus the Sussexes. And today, the royal family won.
According to Bauer, those boundaries became obvious once the meeting actually began. Rather than unfolding as a relaxed family gathering, the discussion reportedly followed a carefully planned schedule with very little room for unexpected developments. Every aspect of the visit appeared designed to avoid creating the impression that Harry and Meghan were moving back toward official royal responsibilities.
Of course, they went on this trip to the UK. There was a bit of will they, won't they? Harry goes by himself, and then suddenly Meghan Markle with the kids in they trot as well. But there have been some reports that the family reunion that they had with the King and the Queen may have not gone as planned for Meghan. There are some suggestions that it probably wasn't warm and fuzzy. I can't imagine why.
Bauer believes this approach reflected lessons the king had learned over the past several years. Previous attempts to maintain open communication had often been followed by public interviews, documentaries, and other media projects that revealed private family matters. Because of that history, Charles reportedly wanted any future conversations to remain private and free from opportunities for misunderstanding or public speculation. The reported length of the meeting also attracted attention. Lasting approximately 47 minutes, it was considerably shorter than many royal observers expected. Some commentators viewed the limited duration as evidence that both sides understood the discussion would remain focused on immediate family matters rather than wider questions about the future.
Their problem is that they've got no future. I mean, as ever, all her products, of course, is a complete disaster. She's got no Netflix series. She hasn't got any project at all. And they are literally wallowing in a maze where to go. And so predictably. And so that is the problem. And for them to come back in the midst of the current royal crisis here.
Interpreted it as a sign that trust had not yet been rebuilt despite the willingness to meet face to face. Another detail frequently discussed was the presence of Queen Camilla. According to Bauer, her attendance was significant because it ensured another senior member of the royal family was present throughout the conversation. He suggests that this provided clarity regarding what was said during the meeting and reduced the possibility of conflicting versions emerging later. Whether or not that was the primary reason, her presence became one of the most talked about aspects of the visit. Bauer also argues that the palace appeared determined to control the public narrative after the meeting concluded.
That Harry would be able to say, my dad's left me out in the cold. Here's my dad not protecting me with security again. I guess my dad doesn't want to see his grandchildren. Because that is what I was concerned about. And I think I even said to you, could this all be a scheme, a setup to blackmail the king into showing up at Birmingham next year, which you've said yourself was the ultimate goal for Prince Harry, to have that royal presence.
There were no official photographs celebrating reconciliation, no highly publicized family appearance, and no announcements suggesting that Harry and Meghan would once again represent the monarchy in an official capacity. Instead, the visit ended quietly, allowing very little material for speculation beyond the reports that later surfaced. In Bauer's assessment, this silence carried its own message. By avoiding symbolic gestures that might suggest a dramatic breakthrough, the palace reinforced the distinction between maintaining family contact and restoring institutional roles. That distinction, he believes, remains central to the king's approach.
William and Kate and the King and Queen rebuild trust and respect. And the quicker the Sussexes leave Britain, the better. The question is only whether they go quietly and stay quiet, or whether they scream to earn a bit more money at the royal family's expense. That is the untold answer.
Charles may still care deeply about his son, but according to Bauer, he is equally determined to protect the stability of the monarchy and preserve clear expectations about who represents the crown in public life moving forward. As discussion about the meeting continued, Bauer argued that the outcome ultimately revealed how the royal family now intends to manage future contact with Harry and Meghan. In his opinion, the king demonstrated that personal communication would remain possible, but only under circumstances that protected both the institution and its long-term reputation. Any suggestion that the Sussexes could simply return to their previous position appeared to be firmly ruled out.
According to one royal author, it wasn't simply because she happened to be there. Instead, he claims Camilla had a very specific role to protect the king and ensure the historic meeting unfolded with an independent witness present.
One point Bauer repeatedly emphasizes is the difference between private relationships and public duties. While King Charles may still wish to maintain a connection with his son and grandchildren, that does not automatically translate into restoring official responsibilities or royal privileges.
But of course, they're not apologizing. They have no contrition for the terrible things they've done over the last 5 years. So I never understood exactly how they thought it would play out, except that Harry was blackmailing his father.
Yes.
Do you want to see your grandchildren or not?
According to this interpretation, the monarchy's future has already been carefully planned, with Prince William expected to play an increasingly central role in the years ahead. For that reason, Bauer believes every decision surrounding the Highgrove meeting was made with the future of the crown in mind. Even seemingly small details, such as limiting publicity and avoiding symbolic gestures, helped prevent speculation that major constitutional changes were taking place behind closed doors. Instead, the palace reportedly focused on presenting the meeting as a private family matter rather than a public royal event. Following the visit, reports indicated that no significant agreements had been announced regarding security arrangements, future royal engagements, or a permanent return to Britain.
And the king, not being in his best of health and all the rest of that, and being a man who on the whole probably wants to see his grandchildren, wavered. I think that now, that ship has passed. I think that the Sussexes' dream of somehow finding a role here, half in, half out, I think that is now passed.
That absence of major developments led many royal commentators to conclude that the meeting had achieved only one immediate objective: reopening a line of communication without changing the existing relationship between Harry, Meghan, and the monarchy. Bauer argues that this outcome reflects a broader strategy built on patience rather than emotion. From his perspective, King Charles understands that rebuilding trust cannot happen through a single conversation, especially after years of public disagreements and conflicting accounts.
Well, Meghan is furious because she hasn't done everything she wanted. When they knew they were going to come to the UK and London, she sent a list of what she wanted done for her at Buckingham Palace. Can you believe that? But they didn't go to a palace. They went to a home, and she didn't get what she wanted.
Instead, any meaningful progress would require consistency, discretion, and time. Whether people agree with Bauer's analysis or not, his interpretation has added another layer to the ongoing debate surrounding the royal family. Supporters view the king's cautious approach as responsible leadership, while critics believe more could have been done to encourage reconciliation. Either way, the reported 47-minute Highgrove meeting continues to generate discussion because it symbolizes the complicated balance between family loyalty, public responsibility, and the future direction of the British monarchy. That wraps up the reported events surrounding the 47-minute Highgrove meeting based on Tom Bauer's analysis. Do you agree with his perspective, or do you see the situation differently? Share your opinion in the comments below. And be sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more updates.